Ukraine Inc., the 51st state that never was 1989 to 0-6. Introduction. The 50+1 project many people in the United States ask themselves, if we are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into Ukraine, why hasn't it become part of our country or another state? Why do we offer them weapons and endless debt, but never a real integration into the Union? The answer might shock you. In the world of global finance, the status of a state is a legal burden and a heavy social obligation. But the status of a corporation, that is pure, unregulated profit. This is the story of how an entire nation was turned into a closed joint stock company. Chapter 1, 1989 to 1991. The birth of Project Liquidation. The foundation of this scheme was laid in the shadows of the Cold War, even before the Soviet flag finally vanished from the maps. In 1989, George Soros made a cynical, yet prophetic statement: Ukraine is the most valuable asset in the dismantling of the Soviet system. By 1990, the Renaissance Foundation was established. Leonid Kravchuk, acting as an experienced ideologue, stepped in as the first chairman of the Liquidation Commission. His task was not to build independence, but to legally alienate the assets of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic from Moscow and transfer them to a new Western jurisdiction. While the people cheered for the anthem and the flag in 1992, the elite signed the first predatory agreements with the IMF. These were not just loans, it was the first charter of a future private firm, in which the people of Ukraine were not even mentioned as beneficiaries. Chapter 2, 1994 to 1995. Leonid Kuchma and the point of no return. If Kravchuk was the liquidator, then Leonid Kuchma became the managing director who officially implemented external management. In 1994, he accepted a shock therapy plan developed by Western consultants. 1995 was the moment of silent technical magic. Ukraine was officially registered in the International Commercial Registry known as DUNS under the number 55,264,636. 55-6 for 6306. In the Western legal system, specifically the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code, this signifies the automatic acquisition of the status of a commercial organization. At the same time, in the documents of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), the country began to appear exclusively in capital letters Ukraine, according to the norms of Admiralty Law. Writing a name in all caps signifies the creation of a corporate fiction. From that moment on, Ukraine ceased to be a living state, turning into a shell company upon which any amount of debt could be hung, using its territory as collateral. Chapter 3. The legal trap, the blue passport and natural persons. During this same period, the red Soviet passports were replaced by blue Ukrainian ones. For the average person, it was a symbol of freedom, but legally, it was a trap that snapped shut. The red USSR passport recorded the status of a sovereign citizen. The blue passport transitioned every resident into the status of a natural person. In the UCC system, a natural person is not the owner of the land. They are either a hired employee or the collateralized property of the corporation. Your name in the passport, written in capital letters, is your personal business account within the system. Through this account, the corporation Ukraine takes loans from world banks using your life, your time, and your labor as security. You stopped being the owners of your country. You turned into tenants, paying a service fee for the right to exist on land that no longer belongs to you. Chapter 4. Maidens as tools of management turnover. When the appointed directors failed to satisfy the major shareholders, the maidens were deployed. In the corporate world, this is called a hostile takeover. In 2004, Soros prepared the entire infrastructure to bring in Viktor Yushchenko, a man who spoke the same language as Western bankers. In 2014, Viktor Yanukovych became an inefficient manager. His attempt to refuse an IMF loan and a 40% gas tariff hike led to his immediate firing. In an interview with CNN, Soros openly admitted, "My foundation played a crucial role in the events of the Maidan. It was an investment in management turnover for the final opening of internal markets to external players." Chapter 5. Poroshenko and the Award for Results. Petro Poroshenko completed the architecture of external control. It was under him that supervisory boards were created in all strategic state corporations, Naftogaz, Ukrzaliznytsia, and Ukrenergo. From that moment on, real decisions were made by independent directors, foreign citizens, accountable only to shareholders across the ocean. A symbolic finale. On November 12, 2015, Poroshenko personally presented George Soros with the Order of Liberty. In any normal logic, this would look like high treason. But in the logic of business, it was a bonus paid to a majority shareholder for successfully transitioning an asset to a full external audit. Chapter 6, 2019 to 2026. Zelensky and the 51st state. Volodymyr Zelensky became the crisis manager of the final liquidation stage. And here we come to the ultimate secret. Why will the United States never offer Ukraine the chance to become a state? The Office of the President 2019. Renaming the administration to the office is a clear signal to international law. Power has finally passed to a commercial management team. Liquidation of the land 2020. Under heavy pressure from the IMF, the land market was opened. Ukraine's black soil instantly became assets in the portfolios of Western agribusiness giants. Statehood as a 51st state would have imposed U.S. environmental and labor laws on this land, but corporate status allows it to be exploited without any rules. Digital slavery. By accepting the terms of service in the app, a person effectively signs a contract with a corporation, trading their constitutional rights for a digital profile that can be canceled for failure to pay taxes or for disobedience. BlackRock and J.P. Morgan 2023 to 2026. Zelensky officially handed over the management of the country's reconstruction to investment giants. The Ukraine Development Fund is, in essence, a liquidation commission. All resources from minerals to what remains of the infrastructure are being transferred to the management of these funds to pay off the massive debts accumulated since 1995 under that very registration. Number 55-6 for 6306, Chapter 7. The global web and the most successful Casa. George Soros created a network of more than 135 foundations worldwide. But he always called Ukraine his most successful project. It was the perfect business case. How to absorb an entire nation without firing a single shot, simply by replacing state institutions with private contracts. Final question: who is at the helm today? The era of George Soros is over. The old architect has finally passed into history, but his project, Ukraine Inc., runs like clockwork. In 2023, Soros officially handed the reins of his empire to his son, Alexander Soros. Alexander has become a regular guest in the Kyiv office, but is he the final authority? Or is he merely the link between the corporation Ukraine and the real board of directors consisting of the giants BlackRock and Vanguard? A question for you, the viewers across all 50 states. Why do you think our government prefers to feed this corporation with your tax dollars instead of offering the Ukrainian people real integration? Is it because a bankrupt territory brings the shareholders much more profit than a living, free region with equal rights ever could? Write in the comments who you think is the real CEO of this territory today. Like, subscribe, and let's figure out together whose pockets the trillions from our budgets are really going into. See you in the comments?